Okay, this is my continuing reaction to news coming out of Comic-Con. Again, a lot of this is little tidbits of information that I can't justify making an entire video out of. Uh, so let's get right into it with the first one. Our first new. This actually isn't that new because people have been uh, talking about this for a while. There's been a lot of rumors, but the Nickelodeon's Avatar is getting a sequel series called Avatar: The Legend of Korra, and you're seeing the big released picture right here. Um, that is assumed to be Korra. Yes, and for those of you that have been following, and ever since I did the first Last Airbender review, everyone's been saying you should really watch the series, the original series. So I have been catching up a little bit on them, and it's a pretty good series. And this one I'll actually get a chance to watch from the get go. This is actually kind of cool because this is going to be steampunk city. This looks like it's supposed to be like an 1800s New York-like city, but in the Avatar universe. And there's going to be an entire. It looks like the big conflict is there's going to be riots. There's going to be an anti-Bender movement within this Republic City, which is what this takes place in. I'm guessing it's an independent city. The other big thing is that this takes place, obviously, 7 years later, since Korra there is the new Avatar. So, unfortunately, Aang is not around. But other characters from the show might be floating about. Not much more else. Like I said, a lot of this stuff has already been talked about and rumored for a while. This is just now confirmed. The other big announcement that they did at Comic-Con here was I love fighting games. When I was little, I loved playing fighting games. So, much to my amazement, because I would have never thought this would have ever been possible, they announced that there is going to be a Street Fighter versus Tekken, or Street Fighter X Tekken, as it's been shown. That is fucking amazing. I mean, these are not the same company. They're owned by completely two different companies. Uh, I am taken aback. Capcom, of course, it's Capcom. Capcom is probably the only company that is so willing to work with other companies and just to do these combo projects. I'm surprised no one else is able to do that. But Capcom, they work with Marvel, which is Disney. They've obviously done the work with SNK, which I'm trying to think of the big, huge corporate overstructure of the video game universe. If SNK is owned by the same people that own Tekken, does Namco own both? I can't remember off the top of my head, but first of all, this is the other big news from this, because it's not one game. There's Street Fighter X Tekken, which you're seeing the screenshot for here. There's going to be, and that's going to be exclusive to the PS3 from what I gather. There's also going to be a Tekken X Street Fighter, which is developed by Namco for the Tekken series. Because if you look here on this footage, it's got the Street Fighter 4 inky art style. So my guess is the other game is going to be more in the Tekken side. And before I even forget, I should point this out. Normally I'm going to wait till I see more footage, but before I start picking stuff out in the background, but I couldn't help but notice this. You look in the background now in the red circle. That looks a lot like the famous head from Dead Rising. We're probably going to see a ton of references to previous games by these companies. I know in the trailer at the panel, they had Mega Man and Pac-Man and a Pac-Man ghost chasing around each other, so maybe there'll be a minigame. Just because I wanted to do two pictures. This is the second one here, which is Nina fighting Ryu, and if you notice in the background is the giant-ass robot from the previous Tekken 6. Like I said, this again is supposed to be the Street Fighter versus Tekken, as opposed to Tekken versus Street Fighter. I'm hoping that if they in Tekken versus Street Fighter they have like a Tekken Force mode for the Street Fighter characters, because my own personal belief is I mean, 3D brawlers have almost disappeared, and I think they're gonna come back though big time in fighting games. I think because regular fighting games actually don't take up a whole lot of memory on a disc, so there's space to do a brawler on there as well. Moving on to other news, Sucker Punch is another one that came out of nowhere that I'm impressed with. I have not seen the full trailer yet, but I do like Zack Snyder's work, and this looks to be out of its mind, literally, because it's basically about girls in an insane asylum. And so what a lot of people are saying, not a whole lot of points about the plot have been out yet, but that a lot of this crazy stuff that we're going to see is really not actually happening. It's happening in one of the girls' minds. So it might be a Inception-like thing going on there, possibly. But the footage from the crazy-ass stuff, it's I've seen clips and mech with giant cat painted on the front of it versus German soldiers with lasers. Yeah, it's nutty. I really have to get a full trailer review. I've seen some screenshots. Looks quite good. This I actually have seen the full trailer of, and that is 30 Days of Night, Dark Days, which is a straight-to-DVD sequel to 30 Days of Night. It's based on the comic series, or the sequel comic. It looked like a decent movie for being straight to DVD, but then again, it's straight to DVD, so I'm somewhat hesitant. I got a buddy or two of mine who normally they like to go out and rent stuff when it comes out. So instead of me rushing out and buy it, I'll probably go over to their house when they rent it. Because I mean, I like the first one, but this is a straight to DVD sequel, and though it looked good in the trailer, they might have cut out a ton of bad acting. Although it's got some recognizable cast members. They have what's his face from Lost in there, and a few others. So maybe it won't be too bad. Other news, G4 is getting 3 animated series based on the Marvel characters. There's going to be a Iron Man, Blade, Wolverine, and a separate X-Men series, which is interesting that they're doing a separate Wolverine and an X-Men series. I know they have been having a Wolverine and the X-Men on one of the stations. I forget which one. But I had sort of seen early advertisements for this. I thought it was the standalone movies they were doing. Now, the way they were describing it on G4 is it's a full series. 4 series is pretty impressive. Normally, you would expect one to be taken on, and then they'll follow up that with another series the next year or something along those lines. Make sure that this formula works before we invest 4 separate things in. But I guess they're confident with Marvel, and we'll be seeing 4 different series. I'd be curious to see if they intertwine, since they're going on at the same time, especially the X-Men and the Wolverine one. If there's going to be any crossover, that'll be the one to see. Or if they're going to be completely separate. I believe these were, for those of you who are picky about what is anime, what isn't, apparently these were made by Japanese studios, therefore even under most stringent qualifications, it's anime. Even though it was intended for a Western audience as well, but really I think a lot of the big anime, they know it's going to be released in the US nowadays. Before I run out of time, I think that was about it. There's just a few other quick little confirmations. There is going to be a Underworld for Kate Beckinsale supposed to be in it. We did get that from what was his name? Oh, Len Wiseman. Len Wiseman apparently let that slip in an interview. So I've always liked that series. It's good. They do need to wrap it up because every series, it's kind of like the Resident Evil series. They keep on leaving it. Oh, there's something bigger about to happen. No, they finish it up now. Yeah, give us a nice conclusion to the series. The other thing that slipped is they've Cowboys versus Aliens. This sounds off the wall. As Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig as cowboys fighting aliens, which is going to be directed by Jon Favreau, who did Iron Man 2. Should be interesting. And apparently Sherlock Holmes 2 is being filmed right now, so I'm happy for that. Running out of time, so signing off.